Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. You see in front of you 3 She-Hulk figures. We are doing a Which is Better She-Hulk comparison today. And there have been a lot of She-Hulk figures made. I have more on my shelf that aren't on here. I'm really just focusing on comic book-based She-Hulk figures from within the last 10 years. So I do have the Fantastic Four San Diego exclusive She-Hulk on my shelf. Not going to worry about that one. I did have the TV show She-Hulk on my shelf as a kind of stand-in for like a modern or a comic book based She-Hulk. Not going to worry about her. I'm just worrying about the comic book based ones because there have been a lot. So anyway, and as I said, within the last 10 years. So we're going to get right into it with our first round, which is the paint and overall appearance of these figures. We're going to start with this She-Hulk. This came from the A-Force box set. And this She-Hulk, you know, the coloration on this figure is good. The purple on the costume, it is a little metallic looking, it is a little shiny. And the head sculpt is actually quite nice. I do like this head sculpt. My biggest problem with this figure is that her limbs, her arms and legs look very lanky. It does give her a tall appearance. She does appear to be taller than other Marvel Legends. But these arms get really, really thin. And the legs, the legs look okay for the rest of the body, I guess, but they do kind of thin out a bit, and I really don't like this hip joint, or, I think it looks very strange, and it moves very weird. It kind of makes for standing and posing her to be kind of difficult, without, if you don't want to see the joints. So, it's a good shade of green on her skin. The purple looks good, but as I said, a little more metallic than I'd like it to be. Going to the next one that I'm going to look at, this is the Savage She-Hulk, and this She-Hulk did come out in the Fantastic Four Super Skrull Build-A-Figure wave in gray. This was then an exclusive released in just green. And I like this one. It does show a very angry She-Hulk. I like the costume tears, the rips in the jeans and stuff to show that she was perhaps in her Jen Walters form and then hulked out, and her clothes started to rip when she got angry. I like the angry head sculpt. I'll bring it in a little bit here. It is a little windswept, so it kind of has to be like almost there's a breeze blowing constantly on your shelf to make that make sense. But it does look pretty good overall. It shows off her abs and stuff and her muscles. It's not bad for a very angry She-Hulk figure. Looking at our latest She-Hulk from the Iron Man Retro Card Wave, this is how She-Hulk kind of always appears in my mind's eye. When I think of She-Hulk, I think of her in like the one-piece bikini, as it were. I think of the big flowing 90s, 80s, 90s hair. I think of the boots with the white stripe around it. I think of the white arm pieces, wrist pieces. And this is kind of just where it goes for me. She's also a lighter shade of green, which I think is better for She-Hulk. I think that's how she normally looks when I think of her. The one piece, her bikini costume, I don't know what you want to call it, workout gear. It is not shiny. It is just like I don't want to say dull, but it looks appropriate. It looks like clothing on her. And I like that how the hair has the nice green highlights in it too. So in order to say which one, I guess we're going to just say which one is better for round one, I'm giving it to the Iron Man Retro Card She-Hulk. I think she's just the best looking figure out of this bunch. My second round is about the articulation of these figures, and we'll look at the A-Force She-Hulk first. Her head is on a ball joint. The hair kind of gets in the way, so there is a little bit of movement, but it kind of does struggle to get past certain points because of how flowy the hair is. At her body, the only bit of movement is here at the abdomen. It is a dumbbell joint, so she can kind of rock around with it. Her arms, we have full rotation up here. They can go up about that far. We do have rotation there as well at the shoulder. We have a single jointed elbow, but also we have articulation at the elbow. And we have hands that can rock back and forth as well as rotate. Of course, it's the same on the other arm. Moving down to the legs, I already kind of mentioned it, but she has this really weird hip joint for the legs, where if you want them to kick, you kind of have to rotate the joint first and then move the leg. As you can see, they don't really go out all that far in terms of how far they can go to the side. We're looking at that unless you like really flip it and go like that, and I don't know, then it almost looks a little inhuman. Things start not lining up well when you do that. In terms of the knee, we have double jointed knee, but that is it. No other boot cut or anything. And then the foot, we do have ankle rockers and back and forth movement. So, that is the A-Force She-Hulk there. We are going to look at the Savage She-Hulk next. And her head is also on a ball joint. So very similar to what we just saw with the A-Force one. Every Marvel Legends, let's be honest, their head's on some kind of ball joint dumbbell. Movement again at the abdomen. We have the ab crunch on the dumbbell joint. Lets you go all the way around. In terms of the arms, they will go all the way around as well. They'll go out about that far. Single jointed elbow, but it is a pretty deep bend. Like, we're getting a deeper bend than what we got on the A-Force one there. And then hands, of course, swivel and go from side to side, as you would expect. Down at the leg, a regular leg joint that can kick forward and kick sideways. We also have rotation there on the thigh. And just to point out, it doesn't really break up the rips in the costume because of the way things are ripped. Not that you're going to turn her leg around like that, but it doesn't really mess up the way that stuff is ripped. So that's a nice feature. Double jointed knee. Feet, of course, go back and forth and pivot as well. So, in terms of articulation, I think better than the A-Force one. Things just seem to move a little better. But now we're going to get to our new She-Hulk. And I will say, technically, these arms are indeed pinless, but they are single jointed. We do have pins on the knee. That's going to come into play in just a moment because our new She-Hulk is completely pinless. She does have a ball joint head. And again, the hair definitely gets in the way. But you can still move her around a little bit. There's enough, again, you're not like twisting her head around. So there's enough that you can play around with it. Again, at the abdomen, we have a dumbbell joint. But this one, I don't know if it's the way she's like just muscular or whatever. She doesn't have as deep a bend here. She does twist. But yeah, I can't really get her to like bend forward and back. So that is a bit of a downer. In terms of the arms, they will go all the way around. They go out that far. We do have double jointed elbows, so now you get a complete bend here at the elbow. And the hands, of course, rotate and swivel as every other hand has so far. Nothing else here at the waist. We get to the legs. They're going to kick out. They're going to kick sideways and like really go sideways. I am impressed by that. Of course, rotation at the thigh. Double jointed knee. Bringing it back down to the boot. We do have boot cut. And we have, of course, at the foot, up and down, or forward, back, and ankle pivot. So, really, just by a little bit, even though her ab crunch is kind of lacking, just by a little bit, this She-Hulk is going to take round 2 for the articulation. The boot cut makes a difference. The double jointed elbow makes a difference. I know being pinless isn't necessarily part of the articulation, but it does kind of help the way things look too. So round 2 goes to our retro card She-Hulk as well. The third round is about the accessories that these characters come with. The A-Force She-Hulk came in a box set with 4 other figures, and she has no other accessories, no alternate hands, no anything. It's just this figure. So kind of plain Jane, that's what we got. Now I'm going to put a picture up on the screen, but this She-Hulk does come with alternate heads and hands. I just couldn't find them in my parts bin right before I started filming. So she does have an alternate set of open hands, and she does have a nice calm head. I actually kind of like the fact that she has a calm head, because if you didn't want to display her all savage and angry, I think it works. I will say the calm head looks a little weird on this body when you're looking at everything together. It's almost like, why would she be calm with all this torn clothing, unless like she's just beaten the villain and now she's like calming down and will eventually just, change or something. I don't know. But those are her accessories. Our retro card She-Hulk comes with accessories that I do have on hand, so let me get them out for you. You can see she does have 2 fists now, but she does also have 2 open hands. And, there are a left and a right hand. They can grip things, and if you're wondering what they can grip, well, I'm so glad you asked. There is this broken up weapon that she can grip, and the hands will fit on this. You can kind of have them grip it so that it looks like she's breaking this in half, which I think is actually a very cool feature. And of course, you can plug in the alternate hands and actually have this, look like that. And, I'll do that so you can see what it looks like with her holding it. So of course you just pop out the fists, put in these hands. Move the fingers around however you need to. So there you go. You can have She-Hulk looking like she is stopping a bad guy by breaking his weapon. And that does look pretty cool. I don't know if I would display her like that necessarily, but it is an option that you have. She is showing off her impressive strength. So the real question comes down to, which one of these two She-Hulks do I feel have the better accessory? Well, I feel like this gun is neat to be able to show, like, breaking it in half and stuff and have the alternate hands. I personally like having an alternate head better, even if the alternate head might not be the best fit on a figure. I do like having alternate heads of characters. I feel like it does give you more display options. So I'm actually going to give round 3, my accessory round, to our Savage She-Hulk, because I just like having the options for multiple heads. And now these She-Hulks are ready to flex and give you the price and availability round and see which one is the best. So the A4 She-Hulk, all the way over here, she is going for anywhere between $20 to $30 loose. That box set, if you want to get the whole thing, looks like it's commanding about a $200 to $230 price tag at the moment. That's an interesting box set because it came with some really cool characters, and then it came with, some characters that maybe weren't so cool. But I don't know if that box set is still going to hold up and command the price or have the demand, quite honestly. We do have a new She-Hulk, so that kind of eliminates maybe the need for this She-Hulk. It came with Bloodstone, who, I wanted. It came with a Monica Rambeau Photon, who I have. It's more of like her modern appearance. But if you don't like the modern appearance, well, we just got a classic one. So, there's that. Came with a character called Singularity, I want to say, and I don't remember a damn thing about that character. I don't think I even own that character anymore. And there was a 5th character in that box set who, for the life of me, I can't remember who it is, just because I didn't take any notes down before I started writing this. But anyway, so as I was saying, $20 to $30 loose. Same thing with this She-Hulk. In package, you're looking at anywhere from $20 to $30 on the secondary market. The Retro Card She-Hulk you can get now from a lot of places. I want to say she's still available on Hasbro Pulse. I know Nerdzoic has her in stock. I think Big Bad Toy Store has her in stock. She's probably on Amazon, and it is a solid $25 right there. So with all that in mind, I think the Retro Card She-Hulk is the better buy and the one that will be easier to get. So she wins out for round 4 for price and availability. And just to say it, I did misspeak. It was a 6-pack, that A-Force box set. The other 2 characters were a Lady Loki, a female Loki, who you can get a single card on a retro card. And the other one was a Lady Sif, who we haven't gotten another one yet. So maybe you want half the box set? I don't know. It's up to you. So finally, we are at round 5, which is the display compatibility round. And you really got to ask yourself which She-Hulk is going to be perfect for your display. When I think of She-Hulk, whether I'm putting her in my Hulk display or my Avengers display, I want a tough-looking She-Hulk, but one that still has that smile, one that still has that breaking the fourth wall, kind of before Deadpool did. Just like an attitude that she's not afraid of the big battle. And looking at these She-Hulks, the Savage one is a very savage She-Hulk. Look, I understand that Hulk might lose control and do things like that. I'm not necessarily looking for a She-Hulk that's looking angry and pissed off all the time. It's just, to me, not what the character is. I know there have been iterations and stories with that character where she is angry and just, a force of nature. And I love the Jeff Johns Search for She-Hulk, where she has kind of lost control. But still, I still like that smiling, happy She-Hulk. So really, it comes down to, aside from my Savage She-Hulk just looking kind of cool, which one of these is, I think, the better fit for your shelf. And as I said, this one just looks lanky. She looks very skinny. She doesn't look like a very well-proportioned Marvel Legend. So it's not going to be her. My final round goes to our new Retro Card She-Hulk. I really do think this is like the perfect representation of a She-Hulk. My retro card She-Hulk can't help the fact that she is one of the most perfect Marvel Legends figures I've ever handled. But she does win this edition of Which Is Better, leaving the other two to slug it out back there with some arcade machines. But honestly, this She-Hulk, I would buy multiple versions of. I kind of don't like to have the same character in the same costume on my shelf, but you know, I kind of want to put a She-Hulk with my Hulk stuff. I kind of want to put a She-Hulk with my Avengers stuff, and I have a Secret Wars display. I want to put a She-Hulk there. This She-Hulk will probably currently live on my Secret Wars display because it is somewhat error appropriate. The only problem is in the Secret Wars, she was wearing a blue costume. Part of me almost wants to buy another She-Hulk and just paint all the clothing blue to have a Secret Wars appropriate She-Hulk, and then stick this one with my Avengers. I might keep the Savage one with my Hulk stuff, or I might just take her off the Hulk shelf. I really don't know. This is, like I said, I think the best She-Hulk I've ever handled. My biggest want now is a Titania figure. I shouldn't say another, because we don't have one. I did make a custom. I'm going to put her up on the screen. It was on the A-Force She-Hulk body. And again, it looks a little skinny, a little scrawny. I would very much like a Titania on this body. So that way we have someone who can go, you know, pound for pound with She-Hulk. I think that would be very cool. But let me know your opinions and your thoughts. Are you getting this She-Hulk? Do you agree that she is probably one of the best Marvel Legends made in a while? I would love your feedback on this one. And until next time, I've been Dan. You've all been pretty awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.